Hi friends, here in this video I'll be explaining coefficient of friction. So let's get started. Now coefficient of friction are those values by which we can say that if a surface is rough or if it is smooth, it means if the coefficient of friction value is greater, then that surface is more rough compared to a value which is less. So less value of coefficient of friction means more smoother surface, more value of coefficient of friction means more rough surface, and experimentally it has been found that the coefficient of friction, or we can say first of all the force of friction, frictional force denoted by capital F, is directly proportional to the normal reaction which is offered by the fluid. So for this I am side by side drawing a diagram. This is a rough surface, rough horizontal surface. It can be even an inclined surface, so over which a block is kept, and the weight of the block would be acting in the downward direction, which is mass into acceleration due to gravity. Now opposite to this weight there will be normal reaction which is offered by the rough surface. When the block and rough surface they don't have a contact, at that time no normal reaction would be acting, that is normal reaction would be zero if there is no contact between the block and the rough surface. But if the block is kept onto the rough surface, whatever is the weight of the block, that same amount of reaction is offered by the floor, and it would be in the opposite direction. So this is the normal reaction denoted by R suffix n. So it means that the force of friction is directly proportional to Rn, that is the normal reaction, and I am assuming that we are moving this block towards the right by applying a pull force P. Then since the friction force is opposite to motion, because here the motion is towards right, so friction force offered by the floor would be towards left. So experimentally it has been found that this friction force is directly proportional to the normal reaction, and then when I want to remove this proportionality sign, I have to introduce a constant which is mu. So where mu is called as the constant of proportionality and also called as coefficient of friction. So it means that therefore mu will be F upon Rn. So this is the formula for coefficient of friction. Now out of this formula we can see that mu is directly proportional to the frictional force. It means if the roughness of the floor is more, that is indicated by mu value. If mu increases, then the force of friction offered by the floor increases. Similarly, we can even see that frictional force also depends upon the normal reaction, that is, if the weight of the component which is kept on the floor is greater, or if the object is heavy, then it will experience more amount of frictional force compared to those objects which are lighter, because frictional force is directly proportional to normal reaction, and normal reaction in turn is directly proportional to the weight of the object. So if the weight of the object is less, the normal reaction is less, so the frictional force would be less. But if the weight of the object is greater, then the normal reaction offered by the floor would be higher, and hence the frictional force would be greater. Then this mu, it doesn't have any units, that is coefficient of friction does not have a unit, and its value would always be less than 1, and greater the value of mu, greater is the roughness of the floor. So in short, here we have seen what is meant by coefficient of friction. At the end, if you all find my videos helpful, you all can like, share, comment and subscribe our channel. and share it amongst your family and friends. Thanks for watching.